Hi, I am so pleased to introduce you to Jewel Sample. She is a picture book author, new to me, and it's a pleasure to have you here, Jewel. Welcome to Between the Lines podcast.
Thank you for having me here.
It's a
I
pleasure.
look forward to talking with you.
Yeah, this will be fun. I love picture books. We actually Jewel and I started this, and there was some kind of a glitch, so we froze up, and we're trying it again. We're praying that all will go well and it'll be good. So I love picture books. I have loved picture books not as a child as much as even a parent and teacher. So they've always been fun to share with kids. So tell us how you got started working in picture books.
Well, my first picture book was Flying Hugs and Kisses. I have it here. Um, it is a children's grief and loss book.
Hold it up a
Can you
little
see it?
higher. Hold it up a little. There you go. Oh yeah, nice.
And along with it came the activity book
Oh,
with it,
I like that.
so that children can process their own grief on their own particular um, developmental level. So, years ago, I have a degree in family relations and child development, and I worked with families in crisis. And so I learned that it was really important for children to be able to process their own grief uh, on their own way. Now I have some, it, so in my family, I my grandson passed away of SIDS,
Oh,
and he had five older brothers and sisters. And so, what I learned through that, having grandma play dates, is that the books that were available at the time um, were mostly done with animals and not real people. And so my granddaughter had asked me, Grandma, would you write my story? Write my story. Well, then all of them wanted me to write their story about their little brother. So we would have play dates, and the kids would draw and talk to me about what was important to them, about how we remembered Brennan. And so after about a year, I was able to put together some notes that I had about um, Brennan's life and how SIDS happened so the kids could understand it.
right.
And so that's what I did. I wrote the book. And then I thought, well, now I'll just have it published for them. And I sent it to a Christian publishing company in Colorado. And the publisher called me and he said, I don't want to just print this book. I want to publish this book
Oh,
so the world can see this. He
oh,
said, You made me
sweet.
cry.
Oh, how sweet.
And, and I was like, well, I didn't try to, that wasn't in my head. And so one thing led to another. And then I was asked to do an activity book um, so that parents could help children process um, the loss of a sibling in small increments. So
Wow.
that's how I got started.
That's a
And
wonderful story. I love that they came to you like it wasn't your intention, and yet the Lord
yeah,
brought them to you and opened up a door that you had no intention of opening.
right. It was quite, I mean, I've never published a book before, so it was overwhelming at times
Yeah.
because I was used to talking to groups and that kind of thing, but not about grief and loss and
Right.
that children experience. So that was a whole new experience, and that's how I got started.
Wow.
And then
How long ago was that, Jewel?
um, Flying Hugs and Kisses was published in 2007.
Oh, wow, that's a while ago.
Yeah, and then my publisher died, and the
Oh,
book lost its venue. So I had to find a new publisher. So in 2010, it was handled by a different publishing company. So
okay.
that's what's available today. And then I got sick and I suffered thyroid cancer, and I
Oh,
couldn't speak. And so it took me about 8 years to get what they call a vocal cord replacement to give me some assistance so I could vocalize a little better.
wow.
And uh,
I would have never known.
well, if you would have heard my voice before, I
Yeah.
could sing a soprano voice, but I can't sing that now. I can't even sing.
Oh,
But my voice is quite lower than what it used to be.
huh.
So it's been difficult to go through the process, but we're on the other side of it now.
Yeah.
And uh, then Love's Floats, I wrote just before I was diagnosed. So when I was feeling better, I went back to Love Floats and started um, trying to make it, do a lot of edits and try to make it with fewer words, because one of the things that kids didn't like about Flying Hugs and Kisses is the sentences were longer than what they felt confident in.
All right.
So I did that with Love Floats here, and it is only 400 or 500 words, but the positive side of this one, I decided to add Spanish to it as a second language, all on the same page. So there's English and Spanish to help children that have come to the United States or parents who are mostly bilingual be able to practice their own language and have fun with the book. The book is about maternal love. And so I,
And that's a turtle. I just break in. That's a turtle, like on the
yes,
Gulf shores, right? Or the Gulf of
yeah,
Mexico.
well, this sea turtle is from the Gulf of America or Mexico. That's where it lives. It's based off of the research that I did with a Ridley turtle. So, but it's fiction. So the illustrator, took some liberty to do some things with the book that you probably wouldn't find in other illustrations to make it a little more personal.
Yeah.
So one of my favorite um, pages, I will share this with you, is this one where Mama
Hold it up a little
is
more. Hold it up a little higher. Oh, yeah.
where Mama is swimming the waves of the ocean with her children, with her other turtles. Now, if you do the research, you will see that what's fictional about it is turtles are not they're not
No.
maternal at all.
If I remember right,
But
you take them and you release, like I've released turtles into the ocean. They're not
mhm,
with their moms. You take the eggs and you release the turtles and they're on their own. But that wouldn't be such a
yes,
fun story.
we're right. And so, but the reason why I chose the sea turtle is because I raised three sons and they love turtles.
Oh,
And I didn't see much out there in my target audience that demonstrated books that were more boy than girl type of,
yeah.
like a little boy having a sibling. And that's what this book is about, is a little boy turtle gets a sibling. So and he's when Mama tells him that he's going to have a new sibling, he worries about whether Mama's going to have enough love to go around.
Oh,
And in working with children, little ones, when they find out Mama's going to bring home a new baby, that's one of the things they worry about.
absolutely.
So my book goes through the different ways Mama shows her little boy turtle how he can know that she still loves him, that her love for him, his love for her still reaches each other.
Oh,
So I won't tell you the rest of the story. You'll have to get the book to find it because you know, it's one of those things when you do videos, you don't want to give the whole plot away,
I
right?
know. And it's I think that's a beautiful subject even to discuss because I'm one of five children. So like obviously you grandchildren, you had six grandchildren when you lost your little one, but one of five children. And when you are in a family with a large group, and my aunt and uncle, my mom had only one sister and she had 10 kids. So between the two of them, they had 15 kids. And when you think about a group that large, you do have to wonder, do they get lost in the mix? And
Mm-hmm.
interestingly, my youngest sister and I had a conversation, and it wasn't that long ago, about how my mom was not the same mom that she had. I mean, we each have a different relationship with our parent, like with our mom and with our dad. The relationship was different based on our personalities, maybe our birth order, maybe whatever it is, the giftings that we connect with. But somehow a mom can reach all of those different levels, and every relationship is unique. It's not the same one. And I love that.
Yeah. And even in when you I came from a large blended family, and um, my father was real young when I was born. And by the time he had his last child, she was the same age as my children. So she didn't know me growing up. I didn't hold her
Right,
family history for her.
right.
And I was the oldest daughter. So some of my siblings expected me to hold the family history for them for me, kind of thing. But when moms age with time with a different child, that child gets a different age level, that mom, and she's going to parent differently because she
Absolutely.
is, developmentally different.
Right. Well,
And
imagine
so,
the difference between a 21-year-old mother and a 35-year-old mother.
absolutely,
It's night and
yes.
day. Yeah, that's a good point.
So, I never thought about that when I did the book, actually, but um, I was just thinking about one-on-one relationships with um, a child that uh, doesn't know what it's like to have a brother or sister. He's got some, but they were there when he was there, so he's not quite sure what it's going to be like to have somebody coming in and crowding his space, kind of thing. So,
Well, when you think
uh,
about it too, I know because my degree was in psychology. And so if you look at things such as birth order, we learn that if the first and second child have more than a 5-year gap, it's like they're only children
yes,
because they're
exactly.
not at that same developmental age growing up where they don't have the same interests. Like my husband is 8 years older than his sister, and they're
Hmm.
very close, best friends now. But he
Hmm.
doesn't remember her growing up because by the time she was in kindergarten, he was in high school.
Right. And that's what happened to me with a lot of my sisters that came after me. I had two older brothers, and I had more in common with my two older brothers than I did my little sisters. I was working in high school by the time some of them came around, and I was 23 years old when the last one was born.
Wow.
So, you know, I wasn't there at all for her.
Right. You could have been a
So
mom.
right. I mean, she couldn't. She would have. Well, she still doesn't identify me as a sister because it wasn't there. I was raising my own family,
Right.
you know. Um,
So
but
going back to your book, Love Floats, and even your first book, are you the one who found the illustrators and the cover designer, or did the publishers do that?
okay, with Flying Hugs and Kisses, um, the publisher found the illustrator, and she is. Let's try to remember her name. Lori Kiplinger Pandy. She actually did artwork for Highlights magazines
Oh
for
yeah.
years. And then she did my book for me. And we worked together some, but she was quite schooled in how to uh, use my text in order to make the story come alive. And,
Oh, you're cutting out again, Jewel. Hold on. We're gone. Oh,
uh, So with Flying Hugs and Kisses, the publisher is the one that chose the illustrator, and the illustrator was Lori Kiplinger Pandy. She had done artwork in the past for Highlight magazine, so she knew how to take the text and make it come alive. And it took about 18 months for my book to be ready to publish. And we did talk from time to time about different pages of artwork and how it represented the text and that kind of thing. But most of the time, she just did a marvelous job. So it was just a matter of saying, yeah, that's great, which was great for me because that was my first book, you know.
yeah.
Um, and so, and then of course, the publisher had the final say. And then um, with I can show you a couple of pictures of her work if you want. Um, this is the dedication page,
Oh, sweet. I like that.
and then this is the page work. That's a two-page spread. Can you see it?
Yes, I can. So, well, those of you that are listening and not able to watch this, you're missing out on a treat here. I love that. Love that.
And so in this one, uh, the two-page spread, we're actually talking about how the neighbors came and were with the family when the loss happened. So, you know, it shows a part of culture itself
Right.
and how um, the neighborhood will come together to support the family. And so she demonstrated that kind of thing that way. Now, the part that some people didn't like about Flying Hugs and Kisses is that it mentions God and it mentions that Brennan went to heaven. And so it's considered more a Christian book
Well,
than it is
yeah.
considered a secular book, you know. And here's a picture here of uh, that being demonstrated.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it it's liked by a lot of people, and then it's not useful to some people, especially if they're not of the Christian belief.
So,
So,
I'm curious where these people that are not of the Christian belief think their child has gone then.
well, there may be a different faith, and so they practice a different religion, and then they would go to wherever their resources are available to them. So, I the thing that blessed me the most is this mother. Um, she lost her son to SIDS, and she had an 8-year-old son, and she read the story to him, and he said, "Mama, I wish I could climb a rainbow and
Oh,
play." It was a baby sister, a little baby sister, one more time. And it helped him understand where his baby sister was.
right.
And he was the sense of he, he wasn't questioning so much. He could relax and
Right.
he could be okay
He had
and he
hope.
could live his life. Yeah. So, that was a blessing in itself. And then I was able to present the book at infancy classes for undergrads, and they all loved it and they used it as a resource when they needed to. But
Nice.
it's one of those books, it's one of those niches. It's really small
Right.
and it's not going to make a lot of money because it's only going to be used and parents only buy it when that situation
Right.
happens to them, because death is not an easy topic to talk
Mhm.
to children about. So, anyway, I wanted a happier book with love's floats, and I wanted children to know when they go to school or wherever their life takes them away from their safe base, which is usually maternal love, that they could still feel that love through their memories. So that is how that gives children a sense of support in their developmental uh, confidence, when they understand that part.
So do you consider yourself a Christian author? I'm not meaning Christian like you are a Christian who is an author, but a Christian author. Like when you are writing books, in other words, so when I write my books, they all have a Christian theme, and I'm considered a Christian fiction author, and it's clear from my books. Do you not?
Well, what I tried to do with Love Floats is make it more uh, available to a wider audience.
Mhm.
So it's based off of when I got the idea, I was reading Ephesians about how God's love, how wide and deep his love is for us. And when I read that verse, I thought, well, that is so cool. How could you translate that into a children's book and help children understand the depth and the width of love that a mother has for their children? You know, and that's what started the idea. Do I consider I am a Christian.
Right, I
I,
got that.
but I didn't mention any kind of religious theology or anything like that in Love Floats at all. It's just mother's love for their child.
Would you consider writing a picture book for a Christian audience where specifically it talks about God's love and those things that the attributes of God that children can learn? Have you ever considered doing a book in that way?
Well, um, both of these books are published by a Christian publishing company, but they really like to make their books more available to all audiences, not just the religious audience. So I haven't really thought about writing anything more than that.
Are you
Just following.
are you
Uh,
working on another book? Are you working on another book?
I write all the time. I wrote not too long ago a story about Santa. Will I publish it? I don't know.
Mhm.
It's one of those things where um, you write you write stories and then you find out that, oh, that's not going to work. You know, and I try to do a lot of research, like, will this work in the target audiences? I look to see if the books have, there's a bunch of books already on that particular subject, because if there is, there's no point in trying to pursue that unless you put it in the drawer and let it sit there and germinate for a few years, and then maybe it'll come back and be something fun to read. you know
I
um,
imagine it's harder as a children's book author because you're limited more than, say, those of us that are writing for a wider audience, adult, and
yeah.
you like mine is Southern fiction, romance, women's fiction, that type of audience. You have a wider range of audience. So I guess that would make a difference. But like for me, I've always been since I was 12, I've been a writer. I've loved to write. That has been my dream. But it wasn't until I felt God put it on my heart to write for the Christian audience to give hope in the giftings that He allows us in the tragedies that He allows us to walk through. That the books actually did anything. Like I had to go through a season. So I think it depends on what your, everybody has a different why. Why do you write, right? We all have a different why. My why may be different than your why. Some people's why may be I want to be able to make money at this, where mine is I want to minister. So it just depends on your why. And when I think about your story that you wrote the first one, you didn't have an intention of publishing it. They came to you. So you just never
Right.
know what God's going to do with what you produce, if somebody sees it.
Well, I think if I would have known a publisher would have been interested in my book when I was writing it at the beginning, I would have been overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I, you know, I think it was good for God not to show me the end of the story kind of thing of that path of writing because I would have like, no, you know, I don't know. I'm a pretty I guess laid back person, but I'm not out there in the public a lot. I'd
Right.
rather be at home, you know.
I think most writers, authors are in that boat. Most of us are introverts. To put
Yeah,
ourselves out in the public eye is a little bit daunting.
it can be, you
Yeah.
know. I see myself as a social person. It's just that I don't need a steady diet of it either, you know. But I don't know. It's been fun. I It's very challenging to write for children because you have to be really choosy about your words, your vocabulary levels. You know, you have to make sure that it's tight and um, said in as few words as possible because children do not have a long attention span.
No.
So it's quite challenging for my target group is 7 and below, you know, like
Okay.
7 to 3 year olds. So preschool to first grade, and but that is the group that I love to give hope to.
Yeah.
So that's why I write to
Well,
give hope to children.
that's a beautiful thing. And it's been such a pleasure talking to you and getting to see your work. I love the illustrations and all of your covers and your story, very interesting. So I'm thrilled. If you do end up writing another picture book, you let me know and we'll get you back on here and show it.
Okay, thank you.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much, Jewel. I pray this will be a blessing to you.
Well, I hope it's a blessing to you as well and to those that are listening.
Yeah. Well, until next time, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. And I will put whatever information you have. Do you have a website, Jewel?
No, I just on Facebook. You can find me on Facebook.
Okay. Well, I will put your Facebook information in the show notes in case somebody wants to look you up.
Okay,
And
thank
they can
you.
get your books on Amazon. Is that where you typically?
Yes, and Barnes and Noble has
Okay.
it. You know, just Google "Love Floats" by Jewel Sample, and all the different places you can purchase that are there.
Oh, that's awesome. Great. I will definitely put that in the show notes. Thank you so much. Have a blessed rest of your week. And all of you, come back next time and let's hear the next author speak. Bye.
Bye bye.